All right, history buffs. So some of you have, at one point or another, tried to figure out what my office at home might look like. Well, you are looking at a portion of it right now. I apologize that there's some gaps on the wall, but some of my weapons and stuff are actually at my office at work. But that's beside the point. While you're trying to figure out all the stuff behind me, let's talk about the document for Unit 7. And the document here is the Emancipation Proclamation. And the Emancipation Proclamation is huge. The constant argument I hear is that Lincoln is going to end slavery with the flourish of one pen, that he can sign this document and he's going to free all the slaves, that Lincoln freed all the slaves, and the Emancipation Proclamation freed all the slaves. And I just have to tell you, that's horseshit, folks. Pardon me if, there's somebody below the age of 18 listening to me, but it's true. Yes, Lincoln was all about abolition. Lincoln experienced slavery firsthand earlier in his life, and he thought it was incredibly unfair. He thought it was unjust. Don't mistake the fact that he was an egalitarian. He did not think that folks of color, he did not think that folks of Native American ancestry, he did not think they were equal. He just felt that slavery was wrong. And so what he's going to do is, well, if you don't know his story, he's a good old country boy. He's a good old country boy, and he's going to be raised in the backwoods, and he's going to travel around, and he's going to be a frontiersman. He's going to make his extra money splitting fences, or splitting rails for fences, pardon me. If you've never done that, that involves taking a series of steel or iron wedges, a sledgehammer, and driving them in and splitting logs, usually into halves or quarters. And so there's quite a bit of effort, quite a bit of, shall we say, muscle building. He's not afraid of hard work. And so what he'll do is he will travel around with his family. He will experience the frontier. And then he will decide that what he needs is he needs an education. And so what he does is he decides to learn how to read, to learn how to write. He learns to study law. He becomes a merchant while he's doing that. And we've all heard the story about him walking for miles to return the change from a purchase. The thing is Lincoln is actually a good guy. Okay? Yes, he does have a bit of a discriminatory policy, but, he's a good guy. And what's going to happen is he's going to feel strongly there needs to be some change. So he's going to get involved with the party that is going to be the Republican Party. Not the modern Republican Party, not the Jeffersonian Republicans, but we are talking about a different Republican Party. They go through evolutions and change. And what he will do is he will run for a seat. He will run against another gentleman, and they will have a series of debates. If you look it up, it's the Douglas debate. It's Lincoln-Douglas debates. And what's going to happen there is he's going to learn to talk. He's going to learn to speak. He'll lose at first to Douglas, but he's going to come back and win. He learns to argue. And this is where he's also going to put out his policies, where he's going to put out his ideas, where he talks about thinking slavery is unfair. It's also where the South gets the idea that if he's elected, that slavery is going to be at issue. What you have to know is that when Lincoln does run for president, he says, listen, I can't do anything about slavery. It is constitutional. And people argue, well, he was a strict constitutionalist. And I got to tell you again, that again is horseshit, sorry. That's not true, because if he was a strict constitutionalist, then he wouldn't have done some of the things he did that are dealing with the war. What we do know is that he believed that slavery was wrong, but he also believed that he was bound by the limits of the Constitution on what he could and could not do about it. So when he runs for president, he's not going to end slavery. That's not his agenda. That's not his idea. But what will happen is he is going to be his party's person. He's going to be the nominee, and what will happen is the South is going to disagree with that, and they're going to disenfranchise him, or not him, but the possibility of voting for him. What they're going to do is eliminate him from the ballots in the South, and he'll win anyway. He'll win on what's happening in the North. He will win out of all the things that are happening up North. They're just a population concentration. He'll win enough to beat out the other party. He'll become president. In that time period, the difference in between being elected and being seated, okay? is two different things. So he's going to get elected in November, but he doesn't take the presidency until March. So think about that. We don't wait that long anymore, but think about that. And in that time, what will happen is the South will unite. You will have South Carolina, who's going to follow through on that initial document we talked about before. They're going to look at the idea that perhaps secession, okay, perhaps the nullification idea was good, and so they're going to withdraw. They're going to secede, and they're going to talk other states into going with them, and they're going to withdraw from the Union. And what will happen with this is this all happens before Lincoln is actually in office. And so when he walks into office, he's already competing with this broken Union. He's already competing with the secession, and so he gets to deal with the South. Well, what's going to happen is they're going to decide that all the forts, all the federal lands, since they have seceded from the Union, all federal lands now belong to the Confederacy. And Lincoln's going to say, oh no, it doesn't work that way. What's ours is ours. You can for now claim the rest, but it's not going to hold up. What will happen is we look at the Civil War. It's going to break out, and we're looking at two opposites. The South is largely agrarian, but if you don't know, the South also has some of the best military schools. They've got some of the best generals. They've got some of the best trained, some of the smartest technicians. The North has got a few, but nowhere near the number. Well, here's the thing. When we start working, when we start warring, everyone thinks it's going to be a relatively short war. It doesn't work that way. And what will happen is this. The North is going to start losing battle after battle after battle after battle. And what Lincoln wants to do is he wants to create an issue. He wants to create a movement. He wants to create some way of equalizing this fight. And so he's going to come up with the Emancipation Proclamation, and he's going to bring it before his cabinet. And the cabinet's going to say, no, you can't do that. That's going to lose us a lot of people. It's going to lose us a lot of support. And what he's going to do is say, listen, I think this is what needs to be done. He's going to wait for a major, okay, a major. He has to wait for a Union win. So he's going to wait for a major win, and then he's going to go plunk. He's going to go ahead and put it on the table and say, listen, here's the thing. Here is our deal. And what it does is this. It says, listen, for all you states that are in rebellion, for all you states that are rejecting our authority, we just want you to know we want you back. We want you back. We welcome you back with open arms. But if you don't come back by this date, we are going to establish a policy that all your slaves are going to be free. Okay? That we think slavery is wrong, that all your slaves will be set free. Now, it's important to look at the document because he doesn't set all the slaves in the South free. He doesn't set all the slaves free. What he does is he picks non-border states that are fully Confederate. You have some border states that were pro-Confederate that have decided to align themselves or been forced to align themselves with the Union. You've also got some states that are slavery states that have sided with the Union. And so what he's trying to do is he's trying to take the states in the far South. He's trying to punish them because they are the heart of what's going on. He says, listen, if you don't do this, then this is what will happen. And the idea of this is he's going to tap into his presidential powers. He's going to tap into his powers as commander-in-chief and say, listen, maybe by the Constitution I don't have this ability, but we're at war. And by God, I am commander-in-chief and president of these United States. And so what I'm going to do is make this a military action. I am going to strip them of their slaves. Their slaves are their supply line. The slaves are the people that are doing the harvesting, they're doing the farming, they're doing the building, they're taking care of stuff on the home front, and this allows the soldiers to focus. So what I want to do is remove them of their help, and so that's what he's going to do. He's going to go ahead and remove them of their help. He's going to create dissension and disunion, and that's the whole idea. What he does know is if the Union doesn't win, this whole policy isn't going to work. If the Union does win, then it's only going to hold up as long as the war lasts. So this is a temporary measure in a military fashion. And the idea is this. He wants to strip them of their military capability and to create a problem for them. And so this is the idea. It doesn't free everybody, but it does cause some dissension. It does cause the ability for people of color to join the Army and the Navy. And so it's a military move. All right, that's it for now, folks.